way back in the day, Candace Owens had mentioned that you're more likely to be struck by lightning than shot by a cop unarmed. And I looked up the stats and I was like, wow, I had no idea. I thought like tens of thousands of black men were being shot by cops, but that's not the case. If we're for all this love and equality, then why are you acting like this? Why are you pushing people away from like your cause and acting like the opposite of what you're preaching? And none of it makes sense. And I don't want any relation or tie with it at all. More people are calling it out, more people are standing up, and that it makes me happy to see, because it's showing they're not hateful. They're just calling out basic stuff. That's pretty much it. But being silent, completely silent, is not helping our cause. And you don't have to be an influencer, you don't have to be a YouTuber or nothing like that. You can use your voice in an effective and smart way without the fear of being canceled or pushed aside. You can find at least one person to have these tough conversations with.
Today's young people are growing up in a world shaped by social media outrage, ideological tribes, and constant pressure to conform. As a result, political disagreement can feel less like a battle of ideas and more like a battle of identities. Someone who's getting to the bottom of why Gen Z and millennials have been so taken with identity politics in recent years is my guest today, conservative commentator Amir Odom. Amir, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It means a lot.
I'm sure lots of our younger viewers or people who are into pop culture, internet culture, will already know who you are. But for people who haven't come across your channel yet, come across your content, can you outline what kind of things you talk about?
Yeah, so pretty much I like to provide people the tools to share their opinions on tough topics from a rational perspective across a wide spectrum of topics, from LGBTQ issues, social issues like Black issues, identity politics, generational differences, motivation. I mean, literally everything.
And you have quite an interesting story, and one that reflects quite a few American conservative commentators, I think, which is that you started out on the progressive left.
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk a bit about what kind of movements you were attracted to and maybe put your finger on what it was that drew you in at that time?
Yeah, so pretty much I was very involved with BLM, and obviously I'm Black and I'm also gay, so I was pretty roped into that world of, oh, you're Black and gay, all Republicans hate you, you have to be on the left, you have to be a Democrat. And I would go to like BLM rallies, and I was there where I was like, okay, this is not for me. And then just branched open my view a little bit, watched different YouTube videos early back in like 2018, 2019. And since then, I mean, really, my eyes just been wide open. And one of the most catalyst moments was like way back in the day, Candace Owens had mentioned that you're more likely to be struck by lightning than shot by a cop unarmed. And I looked up the stats and I was like, wow, I had no idea. I thought like tens of thousands of black men were being shot by cops, but that's not the case.
It will come as no surprise that all of us at Spiked love Rod Liddle, and we're certain that you will too. Every Saturday morning from 10 a.m, Rod takes over Times Radio for 3 hours of spiky conversation, humour and opinion, always confronting topics head-on. Rod poses the big questions to big-name interviewees, ones that won't give you the same line you've heard everywhere else. And it's not all heavy lifting. You'll also get music recommendations from leading artists and the weekly TV review that tells you exactly what to watch and what to avoid. Join Rod Liddle on Times Radio, Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m, on digital radio, on your smart speaker, or by downloading the free Times Radio app. I suppose it's difficult on two levels, because you have that moment where you're engaging with viewpoints that maybe you're slightly resistant to, and then you have the people around you who maybe you want to talk to about those viewpoints who are perhaps even more resistant than you are. Was that a difficult experience for you?
Oh, for sure. It was harder, like, telling my friends about my different political views and how my mind was changing than it was them finding out I was gay. Like, I never thought I'd lose that many friends just for branching out a little bit and becoming more like the center right.
What were the reactions when you started trying to talk to your friends about this stuff?
I mean, I had some of my white friends calling me racist and homophobic, people cutting me off, trying to cancel me. I have friends I haven't talked to since the day I first went to the White House back in 2018, so it's been all over the place.
Do you think your story reflects kind of a broader shift that's happening among young people, or are you still an outlier in that sense?
I think more and more people, especially after 2020, are experiencing this world of like the left leaving the left. Because I feel like for a lot of people, their viewpoints have stayed the same. It's just more people have gone more to the left, and now they've been pushed away to like now they're being called center right, but I mean it's really not the case.
I wonder if you have kind of a theory about why that happened, because you spend a lot of time on the internet, you react to videos on the internet, talk to young people online. And I sort of vaguely remember a time when the internet was escapism from the tensions of the real world. It would be, cat videos or my trip to the zoo or whatever. And now it seems
OG
like
YouTube.
exactly. Now it seems like a magnification of all of the worst things in the world. Do you ever think about when that switch happened or why that might have been?
Yeah, I feel like the switch really happened the more social media went from, because you remember like back in the day, like Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram used to be just your friends. And then you saw some celebrities, but it was mainly just your crew. But when it opened up to the whole world, everyone became hyper political and hyper involved. And then from then on, now you're pushing people away. Like you have people that are giving rational takes like, hey, I'm a gay man. I have trans friends, but I'm not really vibing with the trans kid. Boom, you're transphobic. Boom, you're homophobic. We hate you. We hate you. You're pushing people away for just having the most common sense view.
And I think in a way it's sort of it became less and less possible to be able to say, I don't know about this particular issue, or I'm actually just not going to say anything about it. Was that your experience sort of maybe when BLM started to gain traction in 2020? Was that something that you noticed more and more?
Oh, for sure. I mean, even my first and last BLM rally back in 2017, I was like, okay, I appreciate we're talking about like police brutality, but what about black on black crime? What about black fatherlessness in the homes? Like, we're not really getting to the real issues. It's a big blame all white people party. And the second I bring up black on black crime, oh, I'm deflecting, oh, I'm a coon, oh, I'm Uncle Tom for bringing up like real issues that we're going through. It made no sense.
Something you talk about a lot is victimhood mindset. And I think from the outside, this doesn't sound like an appealing thing. Can you explain what you mean by victimhood mindset and why it captures people so well?
I would say victimhood mindset is this idea that the world's always against you, that no matter what, you're a victim in life. And for me, especially being black and gay, that's what my mindset was in. Like, I have two oppression points. Like, I'm black and I'm gay. You're gonna be after me. It's gonna be way harder for me. And when you have that mindset, when your mental health is that corrupted, you're gonna get that life. Like you're literally manifesting that your life to be nothing. But when you change that to I'm a victor, I will achieve the great things in life. Nothing's stopping me. I can't change what happens to me, but I can change how I move forward. When you're in that mindset, that's when real change starts to happen. And mainstream media and corrupt politicians and just how toxic things have become have pushed gay people, pushed black people, pushed women, pushed minorities into this idea that they're never going to be great because there's always something like oppressing them, and that's not the case.
And without getting too conspiratorial, do you think that, institutions, schools, media, do they have a vested interest in keeping people emotionally activated like that and making them feel like victims?
For sure. For sure. They definitely do. I mean, even about nonprofits, if you think about the gay community, after getting married, especially in the United States, we pretty much were chilling. Like, gay people were being accepted in society, it was fine, and then boom, the nonprofits were like, "We gotta pivot." Trans issues, non-binary issues, they, thems, and everything started to decline. They just, like, move the goalposts. So, yeah, it totally has an impact.
In the UK, we sometimes like to frame this as, this has all happened because young people have lost religion or they've lost their immediate community or something like that. Is that a conversation that's happening in the US as well? And, what do you think of it?
Yeah, pretty much, especially after the passing of Charlie Kirk, it was a wake-up call, like, wow, people are, like, godless. People have nothing bigger to live for. People are very just filled with hate, honestly, just filled with hate, and, yeah, that's something that's been on, I know, my mind a lot and some other people and some friends that how there are people out here that just they have nothing to live for. There's nothing bigger than them outside of this world that we're in right now, and because of that, it amplifies the worst parts of their own life because they have no care.
Speaking of Charlie Kirk, the reaction to his assassination, and also, reactions to attempts on President Trump's life or any political opponent, it still does surprise me every time, the amount of ghoulishness online. Does it still surprise you?
Yeah, totally. It's like, and it's crazy because the part of like love, inclusivity, positivity is the main one acting crazy and like calling for more harm. If we're for all this love and equality, then why are you acting like this? Why are you why are you pushing people away from like your cause and acting like the opposite of what you're preaching?
Do you think that this is kind of caused in a shift in how people see their political opponents, in that it's almost more than disagreeing at this point.
For some people, yeah, I do feel like there is a change happening, with more people becoming more politically homeless and starting to look at the grand scope of things like the left or the right, sports team politics is not working out. But there are people both on the far left and far right that just view anybody with like a Democrat or anybody as a Republican as like a pure enemy, and they just need to be gone. And you are seeing that, but I do feel like it's declining. However, it is sad that people have become like that hyper political and that literally controlled by the things that they're saying online.
When you talk about political homelessness, do you mean those people on the left, or the old left, where they feel like they can't keep up with the new progressive stuff, or is this happening on the right as well?
Yeah, on the left and even on the right, there's been a lot of people that have been like, okay, I'm not liking this Trump administration. I'm not liking what's happening over here. I'm done with it all. You have a way more people, mass amount of people leaving the left, but you do have people that, I used to call myself a Republican, but now I'm just like an independent that's just looking at who has my values the most. So you are seeing that across the aisles, and yeah, when I say politically homeless, it's just the people that are pretty much in the middle, have their own mindset, independent thinkers, and they're just like, I'm just here.
Not a bad place to be. And
Yeah.
speaking of having political nuance, I think something that you've spoken about a lot with a kind of very nuanced, complex stance is LGBTQ plus activism, or LGBTQ community stuff. You've said recently that there's this rising movement of regular gay people who are kind of sick and tired of all the things they're being associated with. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, there's a growing trend and a growing amount of people that are gay, bisexual, lesbian, that are just normal in the sense of they just want to be left alone. They are alone, or they're with their wives or with the husband, and they're chilling. Productive people of society, contributing, shopping, traveling, minding their business, not overly flamboyant, not overly masculine, just like everyday people that are existing. Like that's a growing trend of amount of people that are just normal when be left alone and have no relation to the modern LGBTQ community. Because if you ask me today, Amir, do you support the LGBTQ community? I'm gonna have to really think about it. Because like, what are they standing for? What are they representing? Because when I look at these things, when I look at pride parades, when I look at all the nonprofit organizations online, none of that represents me.
Mm.
And there's this trend that all the people that are gay, are bi, are lesbian, that are not even being represented by the LGBTQI2A plus LGHGTV community. So they're just like a rise of normal gays.
And what is it about all of the kind of pride stuff, all that outward performance of the LGBTQ community, which is making quote unquote regular gay people look around and say, this isn't for me?
I mean, even a pride parade, it's turning into like who wears the least parade. Why are children there and you have people like naked or in Speedos and all little different outfits parading around, the drag queen story hours? Why are you twerking, dipping, and diving in front of children? And none of it makes sense. And I don't want any relation or tie with it at all. It's things like that. It really, that, and all the trans issues, like impeding in women's spaces, women's sports, and it's gotten to be too much. People don't even want to be associated with it at all.
And if you walk into sort of the average gay or lesbian space, is that something that's safe to say, or do you have to kind of test the waters a bit?
Test the waters. You gotta test the waters, like, 'cause it really depends. You will run into somebody who really who really hates you, who might even try to kick you out, who will act all friendly with you. This happens to me a couple of times where you go somewhere, act all friendly, meet a friend, like, oh my gosh, follow me on Instagram, this is great. And then they find out my political views, obviously about looking at my YouTube channel or something, and then they block me. Like, oh, you're hateful. Oh, you hate your kind, self-hating gay. And I'm like, here we go.
An interesting development in the UK at the moment is that among young gay men, Reform Party, which is one of our most right-wing parties here in the UK at the moment, is the most popular. I wonder if that kind of rightward shift is something you observe happening in gay men in the US as well.
Oh yeah, you definitely see a huge rise in gay Republicans, gay conservatives, gay politically homeless people, because like if you're gay and you're on the left, you really are roped into that whole ideology, the whole pride parades, drag queen, trans world mindset. And if you speak out about one thing in there, they're kicking you out. You can be all up in that group, agree with every single thing, and just say, hey, I don't like trans kids. Boom. You're exiled. You're hated. You're seen as the worst thing in society. So yeah, they're literally being pushed over, and they're meeting more like-minded people in these more conservative, Republican, and even center-leaning spaces.
So is it the case if you come out as a young gay person in the US today, are you kind of expected to be this caricature? You're expected to have certain politics?
For sure. And I was talking about this with Blair White on my show, and how now it's a weird time where it is more accepted to be gay, but you have people that are gay but don't even want to come out because they don't align with the modern day LGBT community, and then they don't want to be associated with that at all. So they kind of refrain from coming out because they don't want people to look at them a certain type of way. So it's really a weird thing to think about.
It is strange because obviously, you know, in decades gone by, it would have been far worse to be a young gay person. At the same time, there are
Oh
certain
yeah.
elements of this movement which has almost rolled back those equalities that were fought for. I'm thinking of lesbians being taught to, let go of their aversion to male genitalia, which is just insane.
Don't stress me out. Literally that. I'm being called transphobic because I don't want to be with a trans man, someone who doesn't even have my body parts. That makes me gay to begin with. It's it's clown world. A lot of stuff don't make sense.
Mm. Do you feel kind of positive about the way things are moving in the gay community? Are there more discussions being had now?
Oh yeah. The one thing that's given me a lot of hope is my YouTube channel, is all the comments that I'm seeing, is when I do go out to a gay club and like a supporter comes up to me like, oh my gosh, I love your content. Like, I'm here because obviously I love the music and like the atmosphere, but like I agree with you all the time. And I'm seeing more of that rise, and it's giving me hope. More people are calling it out, more people are standing up, and that it makes me happy to see because it's showing they're not hateful. They're just calling out basic stuff. That's pretty much it.
And how much of this do you think kind of comes from going to college or university and having university politics?
A lot, a lot, because for a lot of these people, especially in that time when you're in college, it's the first time you're alone, you're an adult, and you're yearning for community. But all of a sudden, you get thrown into this community based off of your sexuality, based off of your sex, based off of your race, and you don't want to ruffle the feathers. You don't want to stress any people out. You don't want to cause any drama, so you don't say anything. And then you're in this group where you just feel isolated because you're not even being able to share your viewpoints openly. So it's really, they're either fake and all like saying the same things together, or staying quiet but in these groups because they don't want to ruffle the feathers and they're trying to make it through college.
And in terms of things like pride and trans pride, has that kind of lost traction a bit in the US? I know it has in the UK.
Yeah, totally. Even you see the amount of sponsors dropping out. I'm very curious what Pride Month is gonna look like this year. But I know last year it wasn't that big of a hubbubaloo as it was in the prior years before. It was like, the late 2010s, it was like rising up, and then it's like a 5-year gap from like 2019 to 2024 was just like insane. And that part's dying down a lot. So I am seeing that in the States.
I'd be interested to know, having been on sort of both sides of the political aisle, is there anything that you think conservatives still misunderstand about young progressive activists?
Probably how much they care and how real their feelings are. Because you're pushing for change. You want more people to think like you, but you're sitting here calling them a stupid liberal. That's not gonna change their mind. Um, you know, fighting fire with fire is not gonna do anything. So I think they underestimate how passionate they are and how driven they are to make a change. And when you push them away, they're only gonna act even more stronger. So you kind of just have to go through it a different way. But yeah, I think they underestimate how mindful they are.
What do you think that different way is when talking to young people who are kind of absorbed in these ideologies and they really are sort of emotional, they really believe this stuff?
I think you have to, speak to them in their language. So if they're like, oh, we have to fight for gay people. Okay, here's a group of gay people that I found on YouTube that don't think like you. So you're telling me to listen to gay voices. I'm listening to gay voices, And all of a sudden you're telling me, well, their voices don't matter because they're self-hating gays. Which one is it? And so doing that, oh, we're doing this for Black people. Well, here's some Black people who don't think like you. And I would kind of show them that, and I would go into that way, because then they have to think to themselves, okay, am I really fighting for the voices of gay and Black people, or am I only fighting for the voices of gay and Black people who think like me? And that's when they're going to have that internal battle.
And I guess this is a really difficult thing to do, but how do we encourage people to, not dismiss really legitimate concerns or difficulties that a group has, whilst also encouraging them to maintain their own agency and their own sense of control in their life?
You kind of just have to remind them that, okay, if you're preaching over here open-mindedness, compassion, empathy, love, you need to have that for everyone. And as hard as it may be for you to hear some of these things, and it's like breaking down your worldview, that's what happens when we have conversations. Like, you have to be uncomfortable. When you're having a real conversation, you might get offended, but that's not the end of the world. It's going to be okay. And at the end of the day, if you're telling me we need to be listening to more diverse voices, we should be doing that. Because I'd much rather listen to a panel of 4 white men who all think differently than a panel of 4 different races and sexualities who all think the same. Diversity of representation, diversity of thought. And if you want me to think different, you want me to have like a real, true diversity, we need that diversity of thought to go forward. That's the real thing that matters.
As much as it's people who have been told they're victims, I think it's also people who have been told you must be an ally to this group and this group, who are probably quite well-meaning, but they've been swept up in it all. You mentioned empathy there, and I think we talk a lot about how young women particularly can be absorbed in all of this stuff because kind of socially conditioned to be kind. Is that something that you've experienced as well? And does this also affect young men at all?
Empathy's been weaponized. Like, you can have sympathy. You can say, oh, I feel bad for this person, but like, it's another to be fake and constantly be empathetic for everyone around you and try to appease everybody, because in life, you're bound to make someone mad. No matter what you do to the day you die, you are bound to make someone mad at you for no matter what. But when you're that empathetic, you ignore that, and you're constantly trying to please somebody, and you're never going to. You're just going to be running in circles. It goes back to how, okay, I feel for gay people. Let's give gay people their own space. And then now, oh, well, being gay, they don't like trans people because, they don't have the same body parts, and now we're empathetic to them and invite them into this space. It just runs in circles. So yeah, there's a lot of toxic empathy going around these days, unfortunately.
And to finish off, everyone I speak to who's in your situation, who kind of says things that you're not allowed to say, gets dozens of messages a day being like, I agree with you, I just can't say it out loud, I can't say it to my friendship group. What kind of advice would you leave with that person?
I would say find your real good friends, like the true friends that you can have these tough conversations with, and have them one-on-one. And say, hey, this has really been on my mind. I have no one to talk to. I don't want to talk to so-and-so in our friend group. I want to talk just to you about this because I'm fearful about these things here, but I want to discuss this, this, and this because I'm being told, listen to gay people, listen to Black people, whatever it may be, and I'm seeing opposing views, and I think you're a great person to talk to about this. Just start with one person, one friend, one cousin, one sibling, and it'll slowly branch out from there. But being silent, completely silent, is not helping our cause. And I think there's far more people, and you don't have to be an influencer, you don't have to be a YouTuber or nothing like that. You can use your voice in an effective and smart way without the fear of being canceled or pushed aside. You can find at least one person to have these tough conversations with.
Amir, thank you very much.